Hey everyone, how's it going? It is either way Randy Chavez. I'm coming at you today with a VeVe, VeVe owe me video, but we're gonna go over Candy and Futureverse and all that as well. Guys, if you're new, welcome. For not, welcome back. I love you all. Everyone say hello to Dashi. Hello, Dashi. Commenting, liking, and subscribing is a free way to help support the channel. Non-free ways are Patreon and smashing that super thanks button down below. Also, if you're going to get into DEVVE on the DEVVE exchange, link down to that down below. Win cool prizes like a PS5 or $5,000 worth of DEVVE or a NFT worth thousands, or merch like a hat and stuff. Anyway, and if you don't have a VeVe link down below as well, use my link, get 10 free dollars. Anyway, now that that's out of the way, the Futureverse acquires Candy Digital to build AI-powered fan experiences. We've heard stuff like this before. We have heard actually Candy Digital acquire Palm, and they acquired them a couple years ago because Palm really wasn't having a lot of luck. They were having a pretty hard time getting into the digital space. They did have some sales at first and then couldn't keep the lights on. Candy Digital acquired and people rejoiced. They're like, hey, this is cool. This is great. This means that there was enough of a reason for them to buy. Now, why did Futureverse buy Candy Digital? Probably because there was enough of a reason for them to buy. Was the reason because of the community and the sales and the revenue, or was it more for potential? There was a clip from a show that my friend Jenny Qta posted recently, and it had said, like, why would you want to have revenue? It's like, to make money. It's like, no. If you want to raise money, you don't have revenue, because then you're pre-revenue. And this way you're all potential, because if you show revenue, it's never going to be enough. And yeah, fair point. That's the actual antithesis of what I choose to believe, that I technically don't invest in companies unless they have revenue. So I think Dfinity is so stupid undervalued because their revenue is insane. Anyway, for this, because again, Candy Digital didn't have a lot of revenue. They don't have a big community. They don't have, but they do have a lot of potential. They have good licenses, and we'll get it. Let's get into that now, and we'll come back to that in a sec. Futureverse, which is building a Web3 AI ecosystem, has acquired Candy Digital, a company that sells collectibles based on brands like Major League Baseball, Netflix, and more. The goal of the deal is to bring AI to the forefront of the next chapter of immersive experiences for brands and sports entertainment. Candy Digital is a next-generation fan experience platform that connects people to their passion in sports, entertainment, and culture. In today, modern media landscape, consumers already spend most of their time in front of screens. The digital world is where the attention lives. Brands and IP are challenged with the constant question of what comes next in a fragmented sea of content. Brands must find innovative ways to go in and utilize emerging technology to break through to consumers and create interesting experiences that people actually care about. Futureverse has allied with Ready Player One author Ernest Cline with Readyverse. With the acquisition of Candy, Futureverse is setting out to help these brands break through the noise by injecting its patented state-of-the-art AI and metaverse technology into Candy's high-profile intellectual property, including over 4 million digital collectibles and a massive customer base of over 1.5 million accounts. How many of those are active? Probably less than 1%. Brands like MLB and DC Comics already sit at the intersection of digital and real-world fandom, said Aaron McDonald, CEO of Futureverse, in a statement. By bringing them in the Futureverse ecosystem, we can leverage our technology to build that kind of immersive experience that enhance brand loyalty and create new format for great brands, beloved characters, and world-class stories to deepen their user engagement. Candy combines emerging technology with purpose-driven design to create loyalty programs, digital ticketing, on-chain gaming, and fan marketplaces that reward participation and strengthen fan communities, said Matt Novogratz, Senior Vice President of Candy Digital, in a statement. It's natural for us to join forces with Futureverse, who are true industry leaders with patented technology that is defining how brands will engage this ever-evolving digital space where most interactions take place. Candy's premium IP and expansive content library will be integrated into the Root network. Futureverse's Layer 1 blockchain will address brand concerns around AI, creative rights, and ownership, no longer relying on outdated legal frameworks. Future embeds IP protection directly into its technology, giving these brands the power to unlock new revenue and allow their protected assets to be safely used across gaming and new digital experiences in the next phase of the internet. Futureverse said its tech stack will open new doors for Candy partners to engage with fresh, digitally native audiences, fostering creativity. Futureverse is creating the ultimate next-gen fan experience where one digital ownership is real, gameplay is truly interoperable, and accessibility is easy for everyday people. Candy is backed by industry-leading investors who are now part of the Futureverse ecosystem, including Galaxy Digital, Comensus, Mesh, Henny, 10T Holdings, Microsoft, Griffin Gaming, RRE Ventures, Arcadia, Martis Capital, Third Kind Venture Capital, Warner Brothers, Bilal, Wacom Digital, and J Street Holdings, among others. Now, where do we go with this? There's a lot to take in here. So again, most likely they got them for the for the IP. Microsoft buying Activision Blizzard, mostly getting a couple of IPs. Like there's a whole bunch of IPs that they got. Most of them they didn't care about. But some of the IP was good enough where they had paid $69 billion, I'm comment nice down below the 69, in order to acquire them. You've had some other acquisitions recently, like Ripple had paid $1.25 billion to get prime broker Hidden Road. No idea how much that they were doing in volume. We do a 20x earnings. Let's say they're doing 60 million. They were a competitor of Definity, and Definity is doing several $100,000 in volume each month. Well, I shouldn't say that. They're adding hundreds of thousands to their P&L each month. More on that in other videos. But for this, again, acquisitions happen all the time. Later this year, it will happen dozens and dozens of times over. This is the first of many. Again, Ripple did it with prime broker Hidden Road the other day, like last week. And this just happened just this morning or yesterday, depending on when you're watching this video. And that's important because this is going to be a snowball effect. And VeVe will get offers. Guarantee you they got offers last time. Heck, last time they were worth billions of dollars. And I guess this is also what I want to talk about as well. Are David and Dan going to say no to the next person that offers them, 10 figures? I don't know. We'll go over it. Let's see. So again, what was paid for Candy Digital was probably not a lot. Again, really no revenue, not a big community. And yeah, they claim that they had the 1.5 million accounts. How many of them were active this past 30, 60 days? Probably not a lot. I don't see people posting about it. However, the people that did have their stuff on there, like, hey, this is great. Maybe my stuff will be able to be interoperable, which that's another big thing here. So on X, they posted what's changing. More immersive experiences. Futureverse cutting-edge Web3 and metaverse technology will help us craft even more interactive and personalized experiences for you. Now, they tried this with the Batcals, and like, oh, if you get a Batcal, you can determine where the story goes. It was 3 pre-written stories, but you could vote on which way the story goes. And that's fine. How much of that, again, they tried it, didn't really work out. But you have deeper DC and MLB connections. Get ready for fresh ways to celebrate your favorite teams, players, superheroes. That sounds cool. I think they could have fun with it. With Futureverse's tech stack, we're expanding how you engage with your fandom. Again, I can't wait to see what they do. And self-custody. You know how important true ownership is. That's why self-custody will soon be available, giving you even greater control over your Candy collectibles. We will come back to this. Interoperability unlocked. Futureverse is about connecting experiences across platforms. With its next-gen infrastructure, we'll be able to introduce interoperability, allowing your collectibles to move beyond a single ecosystem and integrate into new digital collectibles. Also means more flexibility in how you buy, sell, trade, and open up new possibilities for collectors and fans alike. This is being built on the Root network, and I'm not gonna lie, I did not know what Root was. I didn't know of the blockchain. It's number 769 on CoinGecko. Has 1.3 million in volume. Again, it had this crazy news today, down 8%. And $34 million market cap, fully diluted at 63, but again, 1.3 million volume, not bad. The token might move because of this. Again, it's going to largely depend on how much money they're making, if they're successful or not. But in my experience, this here, it's all about the potential. It's all about the IP. It's like, okay, well, Chavez, if it's all about the IP, why didn't VeVe buy Recur when they went down years ago? Well, when they went down, one, they raised money at an insane valuation. I remember they raised like $5 million. I forget what valuation it was from. That's fine. But then they raised like $50 million at like a $350 million valuation. They had no revenue, but somehow they were worth $1/3 billion. Made absolutely no sense. And VeVe probably could have bought DraftKings. They probably could have bought Recur. They probably could have bought what was that? Sports Autograph.io. They probably could have bought all these things. but they didn't. I asked David, like, hey, how do you go, and this was a couple years ago. This is actually right after Recur collapsed. I'd asked David publicly, I said, how do you continue to get these big corporations to believe in Web3 when their first foray into Web3 ended in failure with Recur? You have stuff like Nickelodeon, all the Paramount licenses, Rugrats, Riptar, Hey Arnold, CatDog, and all that. Then you have Hello Kitty. They try to go into Web3 and it failed. How do you keep them interested? And he said, we're already talking to those licenses. And this was years ago. So I don't know if there was like a cooling off period with those. Like for example, for now you have like Daredevil that's on Disney Plus, and I assume you'll have different things like Jessica Jones, and I don't know about Iron Fist, that show was whack. Maybe Luke Cage, but you have these different things on Netflix, or I'm sorry, on Disney Plus now. And it's like, well, didn't Disney buy them years ago? You know, when they got control of all these Marvel characters, and like they did, but because Netflix had rights to those characters, what they had to do was they said, okay, take like 3 or 4 years in this cooling off period, and then you can start to use these characters again in their own shows. Obviously, they could show up in the MCU, but really in their own shows, that's what they needed. So it might be the same thing with these licenses, and that's why you haven't seen Hello Kitty or Nickelodeon on any other digital platforms since the collapse of Recur, because there might have been that cooling off period. But yeah, I think a lot of times it usually is easier to just get the licenses to back up the truck from one failed digital collectible platform to go to another, but that's not what happened here. They acquired them all, and had to be for some type of reason. Not 100% sure why, but it did. And again, now getting back to what I was talking about before, not just the interoperability, but the self-custody. Now me, I don't care about self-custody. Me personally, I like my stuff on VeVe. It's cool. It gets points there. I get to use it in AR there. I'm not going to be one of those people that are going to fade these 100-plus-year-old companies because I can't put some of these files in a MetaMask. I just don't care about it. However, the bulk, or like the biggest complaint that Web3 purists have is that it should be interoperable. Like, it should be interoperable, and you should be able to have self-custody of it. Again, I don't care about it, but that is the biggest complaint I see from purist Web3 people, that they're unable to have their items self-custodied. And yeah, it begs, like, that question's been asked multiple times, and VeVe hasn't really given us the straight answer. Now, they have said before, the question pops up, and it pops up all the time. I don't know why, because the team's talked about this multiple times. Okay, well, what happens if VeVe goes down, you know? And again, the team's expressed multiple times, there are contingency plans that have been in place for years. If VeVe were to become insolvent, as unlikely as that is, there are plans for that. They haven't told us what those plans were, and maybe they shouldn't, or maybe they should. I don't know. It's up for everyone else to decide. But for the self-custody, again, when we ask about it, a lot of VeVe team either doesn't answer, or they're just like, not going to be for a while. And again, I don't really care. But now that there's another platform that's offering self-custody, why can they do that and why can't VeVe? Maybe it's the fact that VeVe would want to do it for all licenses, and not all of the licenses are able to, or not all the licenses. Like, granted, there are many other companies out there that just will not get into Web3 because they're scared. Pick any IP out there that's not on Web3, and it's probably because they don't understand the technology. It's because they're scared. Again, I went over the last video, it was that you have these people that watch this video in 2025 about a guy mining Bitcoin in 2011, was able to mine like 1 Bitcoin per day, and the people in 2025 are just like, I don't get Bitcoins, like I'd never invest in it, it's fake currency, invest in gold, like my guy, are you kidding me? So yeah, a lot of people, if they don't understand the technology, yeah, they're not going to get into it. I see that. I understand. I think it's stupid, but I understand their reasons why. And yeah, the self-custody is an important issue for a lot of people, and maybe a lot of people will be happy about this because it might put pressure on VeVe to do that type of thing. I'm out of egg thirsty. Why does VeVe? What is going to happen with VeVe and acquisitions? could they acquire, why didn't VeVe acquire Candy Digital? Probably for the same reason why they didn't acquire Recur, why they didn't acquire any of the other stuff that is clearly either failing or failed. Because it's easier to get the licenses, back the truck up, and go on your digital collectibles platform as opposed to just buying them. And also, one, I wouldn't want VeVe to buy anything right now. I would want them to focus on either getting the app speed up, rolling out VeVeVerse stuff, VeVeVerse 2.0, other licenses, whatever it is. Marketing, like, again, whatever it is. But again, even though this one was likely very cheap to acquire, congrats on Futureverse for getting it. And I would like VeVe. I would have liked VeVe in, a few years ago when they were worth a couple $2 billion to sell a large amount, raise hundreds of millions of dollars, and acquire a company like. And now, obviously, like Square Enix is worth a couple billion, so they wouldn't be able to acquire them, or maybe they could. I don't know. Again, years ago, the Square Enix is the one that's making Kingdom Hearts 4 and like GTA 6. Which one's going to come out first? We don't know. It takes like a decade in between these games now. Because again, like Disney's not good at making games. So for Kingdom Hearts, they chop it out to Square Enix. VeVe, they're making the Avant-Garde Goku Senso, whatever it's called, and that might be good. I don't know. But VeVe has other stuff to work on. I would like them to acquire either a content creation company or a gaming company. That's one of the things I would have liked VeVe to do. And again, VeVe had that chance years ago to go in and raise hundreds of millions of dollars, and they didn't. And I believe they have regret, at least David and Dan. Ben wasn't here at that time. So nowadays, where VeVe's still worth in the 9 figures, but I don't know if the same thing's going to happen. Again, I would love for them to acquire other companies to just under the VeVe brand to make it bigger. And maybe they have in silence, but they haven't told us yet. I don't know about that. But the other thing is, what if Disney wants to acquire VeVe? What if Tesla or Facebook or like anyone wants to acquire VeVe? Amazon, Apple, like one of the things that I had suggested is for VeVe to sell a piece of their company to like an Apple or a Tesla or Microsoft, whoever. Because if they do that, then they could raise some money. Again, just a piece of their company to go in and do that. They raise some money, they raise some capital, they get to scale appropriately. And they haven't yet. They haven't sold a single cent. I think that in the future, again, when all of these acquisitions are going to be rolling around, I guarantee you Definity gets offered. Again, VeVe's probably already had offers. I guarantee you they've had offers. They'll have more. Definity will have more. Like there'll be a bunch of people that will have more. What does David and Dan do? Again, my Omi in the last bull run was worth well over 7 figures, and I didn't cash out. What do you think is going to happen when my Omi's worth in the 7, hopefully 8 figures later in this bull run? Definitely going to cash out. David and Dan, if they get a 10-figure offer, maybe this time because they've been working for so long, maybe they take it. Or maybe they go in and say like, well, we'll sell part of the company. And even if David were to sell the whole thing, he would likely stay on for another year or two as CEO. And maybe Ben stays on co-CEO as well. I don't know. But these are things that you have to take a look at, and you have to go in and say, okay, what are the consequences of this? And it could be the other way, where VeVe goes and they start to acquire multiple things and they build an empire, and this is David's new game. Maybe he wants to acquire all these IPs and companies. Who knows? Or the other way, do they get bought? Or do they? Ideally they would just sell part of their company, scale appropriately. It goes nuts. That'd be awesome. But yeah, I think if VeVe goes in and they're worth billions of dollars again, it's gonna be hard to say no to. Which again, I don't think they would. I think they would just sell parts of the company. And even if they were to sell the whole thing, David would likely stay on as CEO for X amount of years after that. So again, I know the video's getting to 20 minutes. I don't want this to be a huge, long video. But comment down below your thoughts and everything. I want to know. And also, everyone say bye-bye to Dashi. Bye-bye, Dashi. I love you. Goodbye. Meow, 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 Randy.